We've reached a boiling point in human history. Millions of years have passed and led all the way up to this moment. And I wonder if you've noticed it. Every single thought, every single piece of art, every single piece of work, every single thing that is created from this moment onward will be put through the filter of artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence will be the ones deciding the final output. So what does that mean for human creativity? What does that mean for writing and music and the arts? What does it mean for business? What does it mean for your brain? In this video, I want to break down where we've been, where we are, and where we are about to go, because everything in human history will never be the same. Now, what we have here is the entire progress in all of human history, and it looks something like this. So, if we were to draw a graph, and we were to explain what exactly progress is in this context. So this is a chart for all of human history. And this is the progress that humans have made. I mean, this is like since the beginning of time, literally. Well, this is what happens when AI hits the singularity. We are about right here. So we are noticing the acceleration. We've been going. You could argue maybe we're a little bit higher just because, the internet's been around, technology has been around. But at the end of the day, what's about to happen is this explosion, absolute explosion in innovation, technology. It's actually mind-blowing when you really think about it. And so my question is, what happens to work, to thinking, to health, to relationships? What becomes of all of these things in human history if we put all of it through artificial intelligence? Well, what's going to happen is that productivity is going to absolutely skyrocket. Everything is going to increase exponentially. That includes content creation. That includes technology. That includes cancer innovations. That includes evil technology that can be used against us. And these forces are basically coming and fighting against each other. What you're going to see is a world that is unrecognizable in 3, 5, at the absolute most 10 years. And actually, if you think back 20 years to 2005, you don't even recognize it. Cell phones weren't around. Social media wasn't around. The internet was barely around. So what happens to these crucial parts of the human experience once we hit that singularity over here? Well, I have news for you. Everything's going to change, and it's going to change drastically. So the question is, and what we're really trying to figure out in this video, is how can you leverage that to improve your life at the absolute maximum potential? And I think back to this really interesting commercial that I believe it was AT&T had a long time ago. And in the commercial, there is a young girl, and she is texting someone on her phone. And this is probably 2006, 2007. I could be wrong, but around there. And the mom asks, "What are you doing?" And the mom goes, "Who are you talking to?" And the daughter goes, "IDK, my BFF Jill." And so what I noticed in that moment, I was a young boy when I saw this, but I noticed immediately, not a young boy, I was like 11. I was older than that. I was like 15, I don't know. But I noticed that communication had changed. Now, people were communicating in text format. IDK. People 10 years later started speaking in emojis. Okay. Now, what I've started to notice myself do is that I'm starting to speak in terms of AI. So the way that AI talks to me is the way that I start talking. Very strange, very interesting phenomenon. But, like a ChatGPT, for example, the way that it structures its language is starting to be the way that I speak. And it's just because I talk to it so much. And so the ultimate point here is that technology facilitates human experience. Okay? So technology is the thing that dictates culture, if you think about it. It's even downstream effects of culture. Because in the early 2000s, things like MTV dictated culture heavily. In 2010 and 2020, social media. Still to this day, social media heavily dictates it. But you know what's going to dictate it even more? More than all those things combined? AI. And it's going to be indirect. And it makes sense if you think about it. Because AI is downstream of technology. And AI dictates human experience. AI is going to dictate culture because it's going to have such an impact on social media, business, the arts. So this is a very messy graph, but you get the idea. AI is the predominant force in our universe. And we are at what I like to call the Great Fork. So just get rid of all this really quickly. So we're at the Great Fork right now. And this is where AI is hitting a rapid point of no return. So it's becoming more powerful than any human being in the history of the world. It's becoming more knowledgeable than any human being in the history of the world. And what is happening is there's two ways that you can go. So you can go this way or you can go this way. And let's call this way ignorance. And I'm not saying you're ignorant if you go this way, but just bear with me. And let's call it this way playing the game. Okay, so let's think about 2010 to 2025. What would ignorance look like? Ignorance would look like running a business and not using social media, just ignoring it completely. That would be ignorance in that sense. Now, what would playing the game look like? Well, playing the game would look like biz growth. Okay, so, and I'm using a new tool here, so God forbid the handwriting be any worse, but, bear with me. So TikTok for business growth, right? And this is the two choices in the fork in the road. Well, now there's another fork in the road, but this time the fork in the road is way higher stakes because it is AI. And so ignorance in the sense of AI can literally mean getting completely left behind and just being a second-rate citizen. Now, why do I say this? It's because AI is going to be integrated with every single aspect of our existence. Every single aspect. You walk up to the front door in your house, and it's going to automatically unlock. You write a paper, you use AI. You go on a date, you use AI to try to win that person over. AI is going to be a super intelligence that is integrated into every aspect of society. I'm not here to say it's morally right. I'm not here to say it's morally wrong. I am telling you this is the reality of the situation, whether you like it or not. So you can become a second-rate citizen, or you can use AI for everything, basically. I mean, that's just the truth. It's your choice. And with that said, the future generations ahead have a huge advantage because they're not going to have a choice. They have to use AI. They're going to be integrated with it because it's just going to be native to them in the same way that, my generation, or really Gen Z, is just so integrated into technology and social media. But the future generations ahead will be using AI. There is no question about it. They will be using it. The future generations will be infused with AI every part of their life. They'll never know what life is like without having this super intelligence. So what does this mean for you? Well, there's still things that exist like art, music, business, writing, and there's still a massive arbitrage opportunity with these different pillars because most of it is uncharted territory. So with that said, a lot of businesses are not using AI. most artists are not using AI. Most writers are not using AI. And there will continue to be a resistance to artificial intelligence for another 10 to 20 years. Who knows how long? But people are very resistant to it. I'm of the belief that I'm just going to lean in all the way. The more I can lean into it, the better my life is going to be. And I strongly believe that. So when it comes to the arts, are these still going to be arts when it's an artificial intelligence that's driving a lot of it? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. But this is the reality, and this is where we're headed. And so what's your next move? Well, your next move is to decide where you want to be in the fork in the road. And you have a choice. So which choice are you going to make? And if you want to make this choice where you want to integrate AI into every aspect of your life, I highly recommend getting busy using the tools. Just start using them. Start using all of them. ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Grok, Manus, literally any AI tool that you can get your hands on and use, the better. Because think about a blacksmith. They are as good as the tool that they use. So let's say they have a hammer. This can be the world's worst hammer. They have a hammer. They are as good as the tool that they can use, right? You are as good as the tool that you can use. The only difference is you have the most powerful tool in the history of the world, and there's never been a close second. So that tells me you have a lot of opportunity and a lot of potential to be able to grow your business, improve your writing, improve your relationships. You have an arbitrage opportunity. It might last for a year. It might last for 10 years. I'm not sure. But I want you to think about the fork in the road, and I want you to think about the hammer, and I want you to think about how you're going to use it to your advantage.